Okay, right. Is that working? I think it's working. Oh God, sorry about that. What a nightmare. I actually had to like restart the PlayStation. Why did I say it funny like that? The PlayStation. Hello. Yes. Okay, so I'm out of the menu. So it wasn't OBS. It was the PlayStation, I guess, or I don't know. It like detached itself and then just wouldn't reattach itself. So even restarting OBS, it was still just stuck on the menu. But I was like, "Where's that? Where's that image? Where's that video coming from? The PlayStation's not." Anyway, whatever. We're back. Gus, why am I not playing The Last of Us 2? Because I don't know. There are certain games that. I mean, you mean for stream or just in general? I mean, I am playing it in general, but for stream, there are certain games that I love dearly, or the previous ones I love dearly, and I sort of feel like I just want to experience that. And it's quite a solitary game, you know. I think playing it on stream, you'd lose a lot of its impact because it is all about the quiet moments and when I'm alone in my flat and nothing's actually happening and I'm still terrified anyway because the music's really terrifying. And then I think if I was just chatting on stream, it'd be a bit weird. Cool, okay. Right. So, okay, we're good. We are back. We've lost a few of the team. Whoops. Oh well. But fun. We're back at the beginning again. We'll get there in the end. It only took half an hour of streaming, whatever. So this is what I was talking about before, about the giant lasers. You're like, why is she talking about lasers? This is why I was talking about lasers, because lasers. All right. Oh, Dev. Yeah, yes, I'm still doing workouts on YouTube, but when you go into YouTube Studio, it tells you how many subs you have. And it's the first thing you see when you log in. And it was making me incredibly sad because I've basically lost like 300 subs since I started doing Game to Train on my personal YouTube. And it was just way too demotivating. So I was like, right. So I've created a separate YouTube channel just purely for Game to Train now. So I'm still doing it. I'm still doing it on Twitch. So it's still there. But they're on like separate pages basically because it's just, if there was a way of logging in without seeing how many hundreds of people I've pissed off doing fitness, it'd be kind of cool. I would have stuck with it, but you know. Okay. AR-55A, I don't know. I think basically the Elgato's a bit of a temperamental bit of kit. I'm not going to lie. It's a bit funny and it was a bit twiggy and wiggy before. And I sort of plugged it and unplugged it because I was like, it better not do this on stream. I think maybe it didn't like that. It didn't like that. Right. Okay. Let's make a supervillain. Finally. Jesus, it's been enough time. All right. Are we ready? I'm going to practice my aristocratic Cartman voice. When I was 7, I was sent to live with my parents. My uncle. I just lost my parents to a car accident. And then the same one that left the right side of my face disfigured. This is what I mean. His face is not disfigured. It's a lie. He did his best to make me feel welcome, but it wasn't enough. Bullied by my peers and ignored by people that were supposed to help me, I didn't fit in anywhere. And in fact, I spent most of my childhood thinking that it was all somehow my fault. One day, after I came home crying, my uncle pulled me aside and said to me, "People are fools, Keegan, blinded by their own stupidity. They seek to destroy what they do not understand. But people like you and me, we're different. We're better. Never forget that." As he rubs his hands together and counts his lasers. At that moment, it all became clear. I finally understood what I had to do. Get some lasers! I follow in my uncle's footsteps. I'd show them. A lofty Catman. So, what do you think, guys? I'm only missing the essay section of the application. What's he talking about? Ooh. I love me some incidental music. Because it's incidental, you know? Didn't have to be there, but it is. I don't even know why the league even asked for one. There's nothing particularly evil about good grammar. Well, it depends how you use that grammar, my friend. I laughed nervously at my own bad attempt of making a joke. The League of Evil is the highest authority when it comes to criminal activity around the world. Tom, like, I see your message. I don't know if it's exactly the right time to kind of chat about all this stuff right now, but I'm doing the live stream on Sunday morning if you want to come and have a chat about stuff then, all right? Let's do it then. I do see the message, but I don't want to kind of get into all that sort of stuff right now, if that's okay. So just if you can hang out till Sunday and we can have a chat then. They can make or destroy a supervillain's career with a single word, and even those who don't answer to them know better than to oppose them. Membership is for life, and vacancies are rare and far and in between, and even getting the opportunity to apply is difficult enough. All my voices end up like transmuting into like something else as we go along. I'm perfectly confident in my ability to deliver a flawless application, of course, but one can never be sure. Which is exactly how I ended up asking one of my uncle's henchmen for his opinion on my application. Some hefty exposition there, friend. Oh, look, oh, sorry, you've missed his eyes out. You're not missing much. They're shut. Hey, man, it's about passion. Common criminals are a dime a dozen, but being a supervillain requires true dedication. I can't do voices. I don't know what I'm doing. He clasps his hands together in excitement. He's almost as enthusiastic as I am about the idea of getting to join the league, which makes the fact that I have no idea of what his name is rather embarrassing. It's not that I don't care, it's just that after a while, henchmen just, well, sort of blend into one another. During training, I've completely forgotten what the voice was last time. I'm just going to make them all different. Is that better? During training, we were shown the video of the boss's speech at the Allied Nations. It was wonderful. Half of the room was in tears by the end of it. I literally can't remember what voices I do from 1 minute to the next. It's all about how powerful countries abuse the vote system of organization to legitimize their actions, isn't it? I've seen it too. It's really good. It's not for nothing that Human Resources makes all of the new recruits watch it. In just a few words, you can really feel what the boss is about. What makes him different from all of the other supervillains that are out there? You don't need to worry so much. Right from the heart, and you'll do fine. Besides, you're Sphinx's nephew. It runs in the family. He said so himself, didn't he? Don't even start. It's bad enough that people think I've only got to the opportunity because of him in the first place. Last thing I want to do is for it to actually be true. I feel like nepotism is quite a rife thing with supervillains, but I don't know for sure. Getting into the league by my own merits is the only way I've ever been taken seriously as a villain by them and everyone else. Enormi, isn't streaming on YouTube against your Twitch contract? No, it's only basically if I can't like dual stream, I can't stream to both platforms, right? Apart from that's why I set up a new game to train one, because it means I can multi-stream to multi-platforms and I'm not at risk of like losing my verification, like partner verification. But no, anything that is specifically Twitch has to exist there for like 24 hours or something before it can go anywhere else. So then I do some stuff for Twitch and then some stuff for here, basically. Okay, I'm definitely going to use this voice for presenting GT Next World Tour. Yes, Sebastian Rowe, we were just saying it looks like... It sounds like an aristocratic Cartman. Not to mention, He has this weird idea about spending all my time down here. It's not good for me. And it's not something recent either. Because intelligence agencies were always looking for my uncle, who never stayed too long in one place. As a result, I was homeschooled for most of my life. But ever since I finished my high school studies 3 years ago, he's been trying to get me to enroll in college. An actual college, you know, with normal other people. I get bored of voices too quickly. At first, it was just subtle hints and the occasional comments, which I accepted as his way of showing that he cared about my future. Why is the henchman standing here for this whole internal monologue? It must be really bored. I mean, you can't really tell because you can't see his eyes, but I can't bother to move that thing. However, since last month, he's been bringing a bunch of pamphlets home. Who gets pamphlets these days? He went as far as outright telling me that if I was having problems choosing, I should study engineering like he did. Speaking of the boss, or when are you planning to tell him? Oh, his eyes are open now in case you're wondering. I have managed to keep the application process a secret for the better part of a year, but it can't remain that way forever. As proud as it makes me that he hasn't found out yet, I'm no fool. I know that luck has played at least some part in it. This is very chatty. Do we get to make some decisions at any point? Besides, I meant it when I told the henchman that my uncle is my biggest inspiration. His approval would mean the world to me. The next time I see him, I suppose, it will be better if he hears it from me now and not from the League, after I get accepted. He hates being left out, and considering what I'm planning, he might just have a stroke. I'm so here for this music. Boom, 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 boom. Well, here's your chance. He's heading our way. He was not supposed to come back until later tonight. The henchman shrugs. I turn around and see my uncle walking through the door. He has never been a particularly expressive man, but he looks even more serious than usual. Good morning, boss. The henchman salutes him as my uncle dispenses him with a nod. As he leaves, he suddenly mouths a good luck in my direction. Traitor. All right. Why's the music stopped? Oh, do you want some more music? I can more music you. You're early. Oh, I wonder what he's going to look like. Ooh, it's basically Agent 47. He's called Sphinx. There's always some drama outside my window. There was an explosion in the lab. There's toxic material everywhere, and since it would take the cleanup crew for hours to get rid of it, I told everyone to go home for the day. I looked down and noticed that his clothes are stained with some kind of black substance. Instinctively, I take a step back. He looks down as well and shakes his head, and waves his hand in a dismissive gesture. This is just oil. I was working on some old prototypes when I was informed of the explosion. Anything I can help with, boss? No, I want to clear up some space in the storage room, and I'll get rid of whatever I can't get into working condition. Would it be okay? Right, if you could be. They don't seem that evil. Do evil supervillains? Do you think they're all quite normal and argue about breakfast like normal people, or is everything that they do tintily evil? You know, do they have evil breakfasts? Or, you know, do they eat terribly because they don't care? Like, what do they do? Oh, they're real supervillains. Do they exist? Do they have laboratories? Because sort of cool in a really messed up way. Anyway. Oh. I'm not too sure about this incidental music, if I'm perfectly honest with you. And how many times do I have to tell you that I don't need you to call me that? His voice is quite a yawny voice and it keeps making me yawn. I'm sorry, I spend... What's happening with this mic? Sorry. I spend so much time with the henchman, it does rub off after a while. It's quite... Among other things. What do you... Do we rub ourselves on the henchman? Why is he saying that? Uncle, really? That was years ago, and it only happened once. Okay, I'm not really paying attention. I think that felt like some sexual innuendo, but... Okay. He got, what, sexually assaulted in a lab and then eaten by a shark? Screw being a henchman, that sucks balls. Oh, maybe it does suck balls. They're triggered. Well, yes, the time the feeding cage malfunctioned over our perfectly trained sharks decided to have him for lunch. And our perfectly trained sharks decided to have him for lunch instead, which seems very suspicious. What an unfortunate coincidence. Oh my god, Keegan. What are you doing? You murdered a henchman because you touched him inappropriately. What the hell, man? Is it bad enough that you did that and then you... Ugh. Well, I think this answers the question, what are supervillains like the rest of the time? Evil! All the time, apparently. Evil. This is the sort of music that they'll play to make you go insane. In some sort of lab. Clockwork Orange style. The corner of his lips quirks up in an amused smile. I barely resist the urge to roll my eyes. Have you had time to go through the pamphlets? The entrance exam begins next month and you have to submit your papers as soon as possible. I spoke with Madame Mantis. What a great name. Madame Mantis. She said that if you're interested in moving to America, she'd be happy to help with anything you need. Well, don't do anything, because then you have to feed it to a shark afterwards, apparently, because you're into some weird shit. Ever since she's retired, she's amassed quite a bit of contacts on the Board of Education. In fact, if you get everything else ready before Friday, she'll personally write you a recommendation letter. I met her a couple of times. She was a proper villain, the kind of woman that never does anything out of the kindness of her heart. Quid pro quo, Clarice. Quid pro quo. Maybe we're gonna get pushed into a shark pool. Let's find out. Ooh, okay. The plot thickens. There is subterfuge afoot. Dalgo, no, I haven't abandoned Twitch. I just thought I'd mix up the live streams, really. So I'm going to be doing some on Twitch and some on YouTube, just to... Because I've just realised I haven't made a lot of content on YouTube either, and everyone hates me since I've been doing fitness on there, so I thought I would do some gaming stuff so that I'm not just totally useless and everyone hates me. Either way, I bet he's only telling me this so I feel pressured into enrolling. Can we make some decisions yet? I'm glad you brought it up because I've been meaning to talk with you about that. You have? Does that mean you've chosen a college already then? Not exactly. Not exactly, Keegan. Cut to the chase. What if I didn't want to go to college? Uncle, I don't want to go. I want to stay and have evil supervillain spring break, where we just get drunk with sharks with lasers and play beer pong, but with people's testicles. I don't know where that came from. I was trying to think of an evil game to play. I don't know if they get the they might get the right kind of bounce. You'd have to bounce them quite hard, though. Anyway, we could figure out the details later. He stares at me in silence for what feels like an eternity. Finally, he closes his eyes and begins to rub his temples. We've been over this before. You need something with your life. You need to do something with your life. You do a good job around here, but you can't keep running around with henchmen forever and feeding them to sharks when you grow tired of them. Wait, just hear me out. The reason I don't want to go to college is because I want to become a supervillain, just like you. I want cool, I dream of being like you, supervillain. In fact, I've already contracted the lead. I think I've got a lot of potential, Uncle. In fact, I've cut off some testicles for the beer pong celebration already. They're just waiting for me to submit my full application. When do you even have the time to do that? Save it. It's not important. Helping me out and being an actual supervision are two completely different things. The League's application process is infamously hard for a reason, Keegan. Many people have died trying to impress the council. Why do you even want to be one? Uncle, please. I've gone through the curriculum of every major college in the world. Several times, actually. They've got nothing to teach me. I could go straight to a doctorate for about every field that I'm interested in. Oh, God, we're kind of a dick, huh? Why should I waste my time with the frivolities when I could be doing something that actually matters? Like lasers. You're the one that always says that people just don't know what's best for themselves. Well, I do. Besides, I've been helping you out practically my whole life. I'm not making an uninformed decision. In fact, I know exactly what I'm getting myself into. I know a lot more. I want my own henchmen, ones that I can feed to sharks anytime I like, whether I've touched them or not. In fact, that's kind of a thing that it's a kink, don't be weird. I just, like, if you go on Pornhub, you can find some very specific things about shark porn, laser men, henchmen, lasers, touch them. I mean, that's not the exact category, but you get the idea. Are you sure about this? I've never been more sure about anything, including the weird King Pornhub thing. Have you decided how you're going to call yourself? Do you have a base of operations? How about a plan? How are you going to pay for everything? Do you remember the weapons dealer that sold you the parts that were missing for the death ray? It's very specific. Turns out that he also handles mercenary contracts and comes highly recommended in that regard. My street is actually the worst. He said that he would lend me one of the bases, and it's some people over, I can't read out loud apparently, and some people, if I went over a couple of blueprints his scientists were working on. I know it's not ideal, but it would only be for a day or two. After I'm accepted in the League, I'll have enough Reese's to get my own. He crosses his arms and there's another moment of silence. I mean, to be fair, his arms were crossed all the time, but I do like the way we're perpetually rubbing our hands a la Mr. Burns. Oh, no, he frowned. Animation, look at that. No expense spared. If you're serious about this, I won't be the one to stop you, but you are going to do this properly. Call the weapons dealer and tell him that you won't be needing his services anymore. You'll use my lair and my men. Well, I don't think we should just be offering that up on the table right out the way. You saw what happened the last time we were coming close with the way the henchmen, they died. A shark tank. I mean, you've got to feed the sharks anyway, and maybe if they're just like minimum wage, it's cheaper than buying a whole cow. How much does a cow cost? Are they expensive? I don't know. I do remember once interviewing a guy who worked on Dead Space, And I was asking him about like all the Foley and all the noises in the original game. And he said that one of the things they did to get the squelchy sound was they got this old goat carcass that had like been ordered at this butcher's, and like the person had not wanted it in the end, and it was basically rotting. So they like left it for ages, and like they put loads of maggots and shit in it, and then someone had to like punch it, and they recorded the audio of this like messed up carcass for Dead Space, which is why it's horrific. I mean, one of the many reasons why it's horrific. Oh, God. Do you pay sharks minimum wage? I don't know. Right. We'll draft a contract, and if anybody asks, you rented them. I mean, this feels like nepotism is quite rife within the supervillain community. Not gonna lie. Oh, thank you, Uncle. I promise I won't disappoint you. Now that I was gonna get one fricking job, I don't even need that, because my uncle's just gonna give me a whole bunch of shit for free. Sounds nice. My dad wouldn't even give me a bunch of shit for free, let alone a fucking uncle. Right. Of course you will. Now come, tell me more about your plans. But also, now we're just going to totally be in our uncle's pocket. That's not good. What if he has something evil that he wants us to do? We're kind of going to have to, right? Because he's basically just giving us all this shit for free. Ooh, a month later. Bon Germany. La la. Oh, okay. Sorry. Oh, here we are. We're still rubbing our hands, though. I pretend to adjust a strand of hair behind my ear, pressing the button in my earpiece to increase the volume. Sorry, wait a minute. I think in all my stupidness, I've managed to somehow twist the mic into a very odd setup. Right. Okay. Sorry. Look at this delightful ballroom. Ooh. Beer pong in the ballroom. You get me? Ooh. Is this the henchman that we like? Are we going to feed him to some sharks? I mean, he's quite an attractive henchman, now that we can see his eyes. Boss, I'm in the control room. I've taken care of security recordings. The police won't find anything of any use in any of them. Now, would you care to take me? What is it about, like a lingering trumpet? Oh, be it a synthy one? Wap, 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 wap. Take off your clothes. Wap, 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 wap. The men are all in their posts and ready to go too. They'll be waiting for your signal. Would you like to give me a signal? Anytime. I'll stay here for a little longer to keep an eye on things. Please let me know if you've understood. Wink. I nodded. All right. I'll see you in the auditorium, boss. This is the most aggressive trumpet sound. It's like trumpet scat. Not that, but no. The type of music. Why does everything just sound completely wrong? I've actually got this other idea for a stream where everything is innuendo. And I want to be a private detective, and I want to call the stream Perverting the Course of Justice, where I'm a terrible detective intentionally, but also a sex pest. And everything is just disgusting innuendo. I thought it was a great name, Perverting the Course of Justice. I'm going to dress up in a little Macintosh and have a hat. I'm not joking. I've been downloading like noir detective games all day. I mean, because I naturally everything turns sexual anyway when I do things, so like I might as well just embrace it and make a character out of it. Okay, none of you were thinking that. The attention, you could cut that with a trumpet. You could cut a lot of things with that trumpet. It's very aggressive. As an aspiring supervillain, particularly one hoping to join the League, there are two things that can be taken into account when it comes to carrying out plans. Visibility and chance of success. Just like there's no point doing something so uninspired that it barely makes the local news, there's no point in getting arrested on national television. So the sweet spot is somewhere in between. So a podcast then. Finding balance is key, and that's exactly why I've chosen Bonn's National Museum of Science as my target. This does not look like a National Museum of Science. Also, FYI to anyone who's playing The Last of Us without spoilers, there's a really good museum bit. It's not telling you anything, but just you'll know it when it happens. So good. It's a beautiful place, and just like its research centre, hosts many important scientists. Why can't I read text? Its vault is home to a lot of rare and expensive equipment. Ooh, what kind of equipment? Pumps? Despite that, under normal circumstances, there wouldn't be anything particularly worth stealing here. Except somebody's heart. Oh yeah, huge. Yeah, it's honestly, it's one of those bits. It's like a giraffe moment, you know. Anyway, but starting today, the museum will be hosting the Schultz-Holt collection of rare minerals. Its main piece being the famous diamond, Engelauge diamond. Yes, besides being one of the largest cut precious stones known to man, its purity and chemical composition make it one of the most versatile energy conductors in the world. Plus, if you stick it down your trousers, it makes your junk look big. In addition to the exhibit itself, the museum board has also invited Professor Schultz to give a conference at the end of the inauguration party. And I kind of happen to know and think that Professor Schultz is quite hot, so I'd like to look at him and see if he has anything else interesting to divulge. Schultz is both a geologist and a political activist, and he's greatly respected in both fields. But not when he combines the two together, which is basically throwing stones at rallies. This one will really hurt them. I disagree with what you say. Have some flint. To make sure that no other villain interferes, I've told both the League and my uncle that I'll be planting bombs in the museum and holding guests hostage for a ransom. Wow, it sounds a bit bureaucratic, this, doesn't it? Gus, I have never played any like Dark Souls games, only because I am such a ragey player. I think I would bring about a rage quit that could possibly end the universe, and I don't know if that needs to happen. There's enough bad stuff going on at the moment, let alone Julia created a black hole with her level of rage that basically went so twisted it turned in on itself and sucked in the entire universe, and we all just got squashed to the size of a pea. These are the things I think about being alone at home. Very few people are willing to risk getting blown up by a first-timer, after all. I see it's an ingenious plan. He's put everyone off by saying that there's a bomb. But actually, my real plan is subterfuge! There is plans within plans! Ooh. What should we do? Oh, we've got choices. Should we steal the diamond or kidnap Professor Schultz? What do we think? Come on, chat. Yes, Sebastian, I don't know, I just don't think I'd have fun playing Sekiro or like Dragon Souls, Dark Souls. Dragon Souls? That's not even a fucking game. Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Bloodborne, all that stuff. I don't know. What are we going to do? Ooh, 50-50. Diamond. Everybody loves diamond. What's that? Everybody loves diamonds. Diamonds or Professor? I mean, think of the things we could do with the Professor, though. I mean, we are a sexual deviant, I've decided. This is true. You could buy a lot of snacks with a diamond. But you could just make Professor Schultz go out and buy snacks for you, and then you wouldn't even have to get out of your chair. Dramatic trumpet end. Okay, so we're reckoning diamonds here. Ooh, kidnap. It's almost even. I think it's more diamonds. Do both. Ugh. Diamonds, diamonds, diamonds. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 diamonds. 5 diamonds. Okay, it's looking like diamonds. Everybody loves diamonds. It's that Simpsons episode. All right. Steal the diamond. Look at the difference in colour tone. It's like barely noticeable. I hate it when they do that. Diamond. Diamond. All right, let's do it. We're doing it. Because I can't even pronounce it. Thanks, guys. Stealing the Engelauge certainly won't get me any points for originality. It's changed hands so many times. It has to be authenticated every time it turns up. It's been in a lot of people's hands because it's that big. But with so many important people here, a robbery is bound to get all the media attention I need, and then some. Besides, I can think of a thing or two that I can do with the diamond itself in the time it takes for me to find a buyer for it. I mentioned before about putting it in my pants, didn't I? Yes, because that's what I'm going to do. It's a great plan if I do say so myself. If my nerves don't kill me first, that's it. Until Schultz's conference begins, there isn't much for me to do except wait. I look rather sad, don't I? The only reason I got here at the beginning of the inauguration in the first place was in case the henchmen needed me for something, and sometimes you've got to check your earpieces work, and they don't really work, and there can be interference, and you want to get all these things kind of ironed out before you start your elaborate plan. Unfortunately, that also means I've had plenty of time to go over the plan in my head, including all the little details that could go wrong. Oh, God! Overthinking, it's the bane of everybody's existence. I hate to admit it, but my uncle was right. Being the mastermind of a plan instead of just another person helping out is a completely different experience. I also sort of feel like if you were a mastermind, wouldn't you just get all the henchmen to do all the hard work? I mean, isn't that the whole point of being a supervillain? That you can just, like, sit around and be like, Steve! Steve! Go and get the diamond! Yeah! Well, figure it out! What the hell am I paying you for? You know, stuff like that. But it doesn't matter. When I join the league, I'll get to tell the story whichever way that I want. Thank God the trumpet's on. None of the boring parts. None of the doubt. Everything was perfect on the first try. Including the diamond in my pants. In the end, I decided to go grab a drink at the bar while I wait. Ooh, we're going to start chatting up a henchman because we totally should. The bar is actually more of a counter in one of the corners of the lobby than its own separate place. That's a really odd bit of exposition that we really didn't need. It's meant for people who want to get something to drink without having to find a place at one of the tables or wait for the servers to take their order. I mean, yeah, that's what a bar is. I think you really need to explain what a bar is. Sometimes people don't want to sit on tables or chairs, so they go to the bar. They can get their drinks there, but they don't have to wait for a waiter. Yeah, huh? That's literally the point of a bar. Okay. Ooh. Ooh. Oboes are so flirty. Oh my God, this is made on like a keyboard, a Bon Tempi keyboard from like 1980. Flirty oboe. Anyway, as I approach, the first thing I see is a man surrounded by a small group of people, most of them women. I can't get a good look at him from over here, but every once in a while the whole group erupts with laughter. Oh, it's probably looking at his diamond in his hands. After the third or so time it happens, the bartender walks over from behind the counter and says something to them. He probably asked them to either lower their volume or leave since the group began to disperse right away afterwards. Oh, shocking. Now by himself, the man takes a seat next to another blonde man. He leans back on the chair and begins swinging it back and forth. Ooh. Handsome man with a drink. Why is he putting his foot up on the bar chair? That's not... Oh. There's a lot of things going on here. What's happening with here? He looks like he's in fancy dress, but also not happy. He's got a scar on his lip. He's got a thoughtful poise. I don't know why he's wearing a feather boa. Maybe he's on the floor show? I don't know. Sorry, you can't see his face, but he's a handsome man. He's quite man-spreading over that. Look at that. He's like literally just got his whole junk out for the world to see. No wonder he was surrounded by women. He's pretty handsome. And the man next to him isn't too bad himself either. God, Jesus Christ, this is your first ever job. Focus on the... You can't be all like... Definitely a much better view than I had... than what I had in the lobby. Okay, we're enjoying the man-spreading. Man-spreading, yes. I think I said mansplaining earlier. Jesus, same. Whatever. A moment passes and the man in the tuxedo says something. They exchange a few words, but the expression on the blonde man's face is so unfriendly that they don't really go beyond that. If looks could kill, I'd be a dead man. Ooh. In any case, I don't have much time to think about it. At that exact moment, the first man turns around and our eyes meet. Flirty oboe. I look away to see if he'll do the same, but he doesn't. Instead, I can feel him staring at me until I give up and look back. He makes a gesture at the bartender to order another of what he's having. Now, with the additional glass in hand, he approaches, stopping right next to me and leans against the counter. Ooh, I say the plot thickens. I mean, but also, like, dude... Ooh. His name's Hunter. Why is his music so terrifying? Why isn't it a flirty oboe? This is... It honestly sounds like... You remember like on old keyboards, they used to have like demo mode or whatever that would like play like an assortment of tunes to show you just how crap you were at the keyboard. Yeah. Are we supposed to be threatened by Hunter? Because look, he doesn't even have cheeks. He was much more handsome when he was at the bar. Having fun. I can't do my M&S voice on having fun. From his body language and his accent, I'd say he's American. I wouldn't, not with my accent. I wave my hand in a dismissing manner. I think the word was dismissive, but all right, let's not get bogged down with grammar. Not really. I'm watching the governor try to explain the merits of mineralogy. Has been the highlight of my evening so far. How about yourself there, Hunter? These things are usually more lively. Well, as lively as these sort of things can get. Last time, there was a professor from Columbia. What was his name? Anyway, he's convinced that Schultz's mythology is faulty, so he always ends up causing a ruckus whenever they meet. But this time, the committee made sure that the guest list is as inoffensive as... What the fuck is this music? As possible. You didn't hear it from me, of course. Oh my god, I've fallen asleep. My foot's fallen asleep. Of course. Drink. He raises the glass towards me. I saw him order it, but I didn't see the bartender pour it. So of course I'm not going to accept it. Date rape. I shake my head and pick up my own glass, which is almost empty by now from the counter. I think we should be suspicious of this man. No, thank you. I already had one. He shrugs and takes a sip. It's quite good, isn't it? German alcohol's one of the 2 reasons I'm glad the Soviets only got to keep half of the country. Well, and the other one is? Germans. Okay, bit weird. By now it's become clear that he's flirting with me. But the music very much did not seem... You should have kept the oboe. The oboe's flirty. Whether he's actually doing a good job is a different point altogether. I don't know. I think we look quite into it, to be perfectly honest with you. I decide to... Oh my god, get ready, guys! We've got decisions to make. I'm very excited. The music's taken up a notch. Oh my god, I'm not even going to ask you. I'm going to flirt back. Let's flirt back. Let's see what Delicious Hunter wants. Hunter. Touch his trousers to see if he's hiding the diamond in his pants. Because he could be hiding the diamond in his pants. And that's maybe where the diamond is. And that's how we get the diamond, is by taking off his pants. This game's taken a turn. Well, 2 can play the same game. Let's see him put his money where his mouth is. Or my penis where his mouth is. We could... That's flirty, right? Just to slap it out. Middle of a room. Let him have a taste. That's how you do it, right? I guess. I don't know. I've never been a man flirting with a man. Of course, one of those things is much more fun than the other. Yes, Hunter. How do you like that? Ah! He laughs and puts down one of the glasses and offers me his free hand. I take it and give him a grin in return. Yes, the handshake lasts a couple of seconds more than is strictly necessary. And instead of simply letting go at the end, he slides his fingers across my palm. Oh, the ecstasy! I curl my fingers This is very erotic. What the hell has happened? I thought this was about supervillains. Jesus Christ. I curl my fingers slightly so that they interlock briefly at the end. I do like to give good finger. That does it. He begins ogling me in what's possible the least subtle... Possibly? Sorry, I shouldn't be correcting the grammar as we go. Possibly the least subtle manner known to man. He's looking at my pants to see if I have a diamond. I don't have it yet, but I will later. Yes? Johns, it's a pleasure to meet you. Sorry, is that his name? I thought his name was Hunter. What? I'm fully into the pants diamond. If I was going to smuggle out a giant diamond, where would you put it? Put it in your pants. Say you steal anything, put it in your pants. Want to steal a giant sausage? Put it in your pants. Want to steal a chair? Put it in your pants. People will just think you're weird and leave you alone. The pleasure is all mine. Don't take this the wrong way, but you look kind of young for an academic. I'm still an undergrad. I'm hoping for a chance to discuss my thesis with Schultz before I submit it. It's a very sexual thesis, let me tell you. Asking Schultz for his opinion on an undergrad thesis, that's quite a high bar you've set for yourself. It's very erotic, this chat. Trust me, you don't even know the half of it. So, what's it about? In simple terms, I'm researching ways to improve the accuracy of the tools used to locate and harvest petroleum deposits. It's just one of the sexiest theses I've ever written. Who doesn't like collecting petroleum from where it's been deposited? There's no way to make that sound sexy. It would make extraction quicker, cheaper, and more environmentally friendly. This is turned into ASMR. Right now, it's all a theory, but I'm pretty sure that my calculations will lead it to becoming applicable. That's quite impressive. All the better for me. I like them smart. My voice is broken. With a grin, he puts his hand on my shoulder and leans closer to me until his face is practically touching mine. I'm clearly not to stop the trumpets. His breath feels hot against my ear. I'm completely lost how we got to this point in the story, and how I'm suddenly now doing this with my voice, but okay. His breath feels hot against my ear and mixed with the faint smell of alcohol coming from him. It's enough to send a shiver down my spine. Oh my God, yes. His drunky breath is doing things to me. Maybe we could discuss some of your ideas in, private. I'm tempted. So very tempted. But if I miss Schultz, my thesis supervisor will have my head. What a shame. I take a step back and he lets go of my arm. What a shame. But I understand. Next time, then. He picks up the glass, chugs down the rest of the drink, and winks at me before turning around and walking away. As soon as he's out of my sight, I let out a sigh and try to realign my trousers so that it doesn't look like I have a massive, massive boner right now in front of a room full of people. Really? Why? Would it have ended ugly for him? What if I'd been anyone else? Okay, that's progressive. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm not planning to see him again anytime soon. Let's put money on that we are, because obviously there's a buzzing sound from one of the nearby speakers. I turn my attention to it. Ooh. I head towards the auditorium once I've jangled out that boner. It's gone. Right. Other than the first 2 rows, which have been reserved for politicians and the press, the seats aren't numbered. Terribly inconvenient for people that would rather secure a good place without having to enter early or wait too long a line for it. On the other hand, it's perfect for someone like me that would rather not have a name attached to their tickets. This is a lot of nonsense chat here. When one of the ushers takes my ticket, I recognize him as one of my uncle's men, just like the henchman said. He directs me towards a free seat at the corner of the middle of one of the rows. Perfect. Nothing would ruin a dramatic entrance like having to ask people to stand up so I can get to the stage. It quickly becomes obvious why no one has taken it yet. Sitting next to me is the blonde man from the hall reading the program with an expression on his face just as unfriendly as the one that he had back there. Excuse me, is this seat taken? Ooh, look how stern he is. He looks at me, shakes his head, and then goes back to reading without a single word. Under any other circumstances, I wouldn't care, but come on, he talked to the other man at the bar, and I don't get more than a side glance? Wow. It's entirely possible for him to just be some regular guy with bad social skills, and poor German, but he didn't even attempt to answer in English either. Well, there you go. Oh. I tried to speak to him in Russian. Oh. I've heard that Russians have a lot of trouble getting travel permits nowadays, even those who've never been to the Soviet Union. Really? And that's gonna ingratiate himself with us? Ooh. Well, it would not be the first time. Why? I mean, I seem very unfocused really on the task at hand here. Because he insists on ignoring me, because there's something... Okay, what do you reckon? Why am I interested? Because he insists on ignoring me, or because there's something suspicious about him? This music sounds like from The Running Man when Sub-Zero comes out. No, not Sub-Zero. Dynamo. So distracted by men. Yeah, he does look dodgy. Right, let's go with there's something suspicious about him. Alright. It's not uncommon to find Russian expatriates in highly profile events, but in general they're pretty easy to recognize. This man is not one. I went through a lot of trouble to make sure no one would interrupt me today, so if there's something out of place about him, I need to know. Sergey. Me neither. But I imagine it's just about as difficult as finding someone that will teach you Russian on this side of the world. I'm not very good at Russian accents. His accent is very thick, even in Russian. Thankfully, I speak the language fairly well, as otherwise I would have regretted my decision as soon as he opened his mouth. As with all things, it's a matter of knowing the right people. Speaking a language won't get you arrested there. That depends on how you... Oh, that depends on how you use it. And how do you use it? Who are you? No one of consequence, as long as you don't get in my way. Wow, that's quite threatening. Trying to do a Russian We exchange a look of suspicion before he goes back to reading. Not without hesitation, though. Seems like I'll have to keep my eye on him. Okay, great. Because that music was annoying. Fine. I'm going to take a picture now. The lights of the room begin to dim until they turn off completely, and the auditorium's only remaining illumination are the spotlights above the stage. A man in a suit appears from the left at the end of the stage, followed by Professor Schultz. He stops at the podium, and soon any hopes of conversation are drowned by the audience applauds. Applauds? Hi, everyone! Hello and welcome. Please welcome Professor Hans Schultz, head of the Schultz Hope Foundation. There's another round of applause, this time much louder. After a couple of seconds pass, Schultz holds up his hand and the whole room goes quiet. Slowly, the floor next to him begins to open, and everyone watches in awe as the case in which the diamond is kept raises from it. I had seen pictures of it before, of course, but it doesn't compare to seeing it in the flesh. I don't know how to do a German accent. As you all know, no. As you all know, the Engelauge is among the most rarest gemstones in the world. Flawless both in its surface and its interior, it allows both heat and electricity to be conducted with minimal dispersion. I don't know what accent this is. I pressed the button on the side of my watch. I couldn't risk bringing too much equipment on my person, but managed to fit both a communicator and a small laser into my... He does love a laser! Ooh. At my signal, the doors burst open and the henchmen appear, whilst the ones that had been posing as ushers hurry to lock the doors behind them. My uncle only ended up lending me about half a dozen of them, but since the people inside have no way to tell, they are more than enough. There are whispers of confusion at first, but the room goes completely quiet, then Schultz slaps. What is the meaning of this? Security! Get these people out of here! No accents. I stand up. and I'm escorted to the stage by that henchman whose name Steve. Let's just call him Steve. While we walk, he goes ahead and hands me the control of the bombs. It's mostly for show, since we only wired enough bombs to mess up some of the less important rooms slightly, while the rest are decoys set to release smoke. Of course, they don't know that. There has been a slight change of plans, Professor. As I take the podium, I put down the control in front of me and I signal the henchman to restrain Schultz. They both get off the stage and he leads the professor towards the side of the auditorium. Oh, here we go. Plan in action.
Damas y caballeros, por favor permanezcan sentados. Si cooperan y hacen exactamente lo que se les diga, nadie.
So I'm speaking in a whole bunch of different languages, whatever.
Cuando piensen en este momento en algunos años, se darán cuenta que fue el día más importante de sus vidas.
That was Italian. When you look back into this moment in a few years, you'll realize that it was the most important day of your lives. Okay, well that's Spanish. That's really weird. Why is it doing weird languages? Okay, who called it 1 hour, 20 minutes, Julia broke the game? I have not broken a game yet. You'll have the honor of witnessing the birth of one of the greatest supervillains known to man, Dr. Cyclops. As of right now, you also have the honor of being my hostages. Hopefully the government values your lives. I'm briefly interrupted by the sound of talking coming from amongst the seats. I decide to ignore it and continue. Enough to pay the... When it happens again, I stop speaking and begin to look over the crowd, searching for the source of the interruption. Who is it? Most of the guests have either a look of fear or discomfort on their faces, and some of them even shake their heads as they notice me looking at them. What do I have henchmen for if they can't keep people from talking at the same time as me? Finally, I notice that the henchman is out of place, standing at the end of the row rather than his place next to Schultz. He seems to be arguing with someone. I step down from the stage to get a better look, and I recognize the other person as the man from the lobby. Oh, it's Hunter! What you doing? Sit down. I'm going to the bathroom, unless you want me to get sick all over the floor. He stands up and gives a few steps forward. Actually, it's more of an awkward stumbling. He looks very, very drunk. Oh. Hey, I said you aren't going anywhere! The henchman grabs his arm to stop him. Suddenly the man turns around and punches him square on the nose, knocking him out cold in the process. Stepping back the henchman's unconscious body, he puts his hand inside his jacket and takes out a gun. At first, I'm amused by the idea of getting shot by an overeager drunk, but he manages to point it right at me just fine. Ooh, Agent Hunter. Global. You're all under arrest. Shit. People begin to turn to look at him, whispering to each other until the crowd's attention is divided between the two of us. Meanwhile, none of the henchmen move, unsure of what to do. The only security on site was supposed to be the museum's guards and some of the local police stationed outside. There was nothing to make us think that an agent of Global would be here, let alone armed. The henchmen could deal with him through sheer numbers alone, but I need to keep control of the crowd. If everyone begins to panic, it's not going to be good for any of us. I decide to try and bluff, so I shrug and laugh it off. Nice try, but you wouldn't risk a shootout in a room full of civilians, or for me to blow this place sky high. I pick up the control and put my index finger on the big red button in the middle of it. I mean, I don't, because I got my hands together, but fine. See this? My men have put bombs all over the museum. One false move and I'll push it, Hunter! With you still inside? I don't think so. Oh, he's called our bluff. As for your henchmen, my aim is pretty good and something tells me none of them want to be the one that gets their boss shot. I guess we'll have to see who's faster. Get him! Ooh. The henchmen are getting ready to fire when I'm blinded by a flash of white light. Out of instinct, I drop the control and raise my arm to cover my good eye. But the movement makes me lose my balance and I'm shit. Grenade! Everybody get down. Hold your fire. My vision is blurry, so much that I can barely see the second flash of light when it goes off. I hear the people screaming. It's not much of a relief, but at least that's someone they were using flash brigades instead of fragmentation ones. Takes a couple of seconds for my eyesight to come back completely, and a couple more for me to gain enough strength to be able to stand up. I look around. I've balls this up. Half of the henchmen are on the floor, covering their ears in pain. The other half still look too confused to do anything. Upon realizing that no one is blocking their way anymore, the people in the seats begin to run towards the exit in panics, pushing each other and screaming. By the time the henchmen try to regain control of the situation, the whole room has descended into chaos. In front of me, Agent Hunter points his gun in my direction and begins to approach. Or at least, he's trying to. His hand is shaking so much that it's obvious that he's just as disorientated as I am. I frown. If it wasn't him, then who? He looks at me, then looks at the floor and stops. I look down as well and realize why. It's the control! He hurls himself forward and grabs it. I take the opportunity to kick the gun out of his hand, but he holds onto my leg and pulls me down with him. Can't say I'm that angry. We both end up on the floor, trying to wrestle the control out of each other's hands. While Hunter may be stronger, right now I'm in better condition, so I manage... We keep rolling around on the floor until I manage to flip him over and pin him down. Has someone ever told you that this is your best angle? What? What are you doing, dude? I'm going to blow up the place. Shut up and give it back. As we continue to struggle for the control, I notice someone get on stage out of the corner of my eye. I turn my head and see the blonde man from the lobby walk up to the diamond's case and lift it up. Oh my God, he's going to steal it, the suspicious man. Ah, shit. Okay, lands right on the detonator. Brilliant. Oh, shit. Of course, nothing happens. It's a decoy. Yes, it is. Hunter shakes his head in disbelief, wiping a bead of sweat from his brow with the back of his hand. But instead of looking angry, he seems rather amused by the whole situation. Having decided that his immediate business with me is done, he runs past me and onto the stage to catch up with the other man. They begin fighting over the diamond right away, trying to keep each other from getting a proper hold on it. They're pretty evenly matched at first, but the longer the fight lasts, the more Hunter struggles to keep up. Whoever the Russian is, it's clear that he's not just a random guest or some opportunistic thief. It'll be an easy mission, they said. No one cares about a rock anymore, they said. Well, how wrong they were. Why, it's the KGB. Be quiet. The diamond is the property of the Soviet government. I've come to take it back. I can't do accents, it's terrible. Global and the KGB. I knew there was something odd about these two. Talk about like what terrible first mission. I feel someone pull my arm. I turn to the henchman. His nose is bleeding. Oh, he's got a split lip. He's pretty lucky he didn't get trampled or eaten by a shark after I touched him up inappropriately. Boss, we should leave. Definitely should. By now, the room is almost empty, and the only ones left here, besides the four of us, are the rest of the henchmen. At least they have enough common sense to not try to pick up their guns again. I shake my head. Get out! Come on, Keegan! What are you doing? Ooh, okay. Come on, Keegan, get on with it. There's too much dialogue and not enough action. Whoops. That's a smart plan. They both reach out to grab the diamond at the same time, but instead they knock it over and it rolls all the way behind the curtain. The Russian pushes Hunter out of the way and goes after it, but with Hunter following a second later, I lose him from sight for about a minute, my view obscured by the curtain. Finally, a hand pulls the curtain aside. It's... Ooh, who is it? Let's go Agent Hunter. Agent Hunter crawled out from under the curtain, holding the diamond in his free hand. He looks a little beat up, but he's in much better shape than I'd expected him to be after fighting the Russian, mainly because he's still in one piece. Hunter stands up and puts the diamond inside his jacket before running his fingers through his hair in an attempt to comb it back into place. He uses his watch to make a makeshift mirror and, satisfied with the result, takes a moment to look back to make sure that the Russian isn't going to follow him. When a few seconds pass, there's no sign of him. Hunter begins walking towards the exit. I leave the room shortly after he does, trying to remain close enough to keep an eye on him, but still far enough away that he won't notice. Okay, right. I'm going to have to probably call it quits there because it's 7. I am absolutely famished. And this is quite lengthy. Like, each little chapter is quite long. That's a really peculiar game. It took a very odd turn. I'm not really sure what exactly it was trying to do. But anyway, thank you for joining me for the inaugural That's Peculiar with Julia. If you can think of any other really weird games that you think would be funny for me to play, hit me up and let me know. And I'm going to start making like a full-on playlist so I can do it more regularly. Yeah. Oh, well, thank you for joining me. It's been a really lovely stream. I hope you have a really lovely weekend planned. So yeah, don't forget I'm doing a kind of chat stream on Twitch on Sunday at 10 a.m. So, because it's the play and talk weekend. So the idea is really it's in conjunction with Yuki. So it's getting everybody together to play video games together and to have a chat. But I wanted to do something separately in case, there are people out there who didn't have a kind of squad to play with this weekend, who just wanted to kind of hang out and chat. Or if you guys out there have some great squads, you could pop in the chat and sort of ping your details and try and maybe form some new squads and get some new players. It would be good. So yeah, 10 a.m. on Twitch, and it's just twitch.tv/it's Julia Hardy. And we're just going to be hanging out and having a bit of a chat and just making sure everyone's doing okay. Because lockdown is just buggery, ballsy shit. So yeah, thanks for joining us, Roy. I'm really great that you've been here. And hopefully I'll do some more. And I'll see you again next time. I haven't quite worked out what my streaming schedule is going to be, but generally speaking, between kind of 5:30 and 7 seems to be quite a good time. I'm just not sure what order I'm going to do which shows and when. I'm kind of just figuring it out at the moment. Anyway, I will keep you updated. Just hit sub or whatever, and it should hopefully ping you and stuff. Turn on your notifications because I'm a bit all over the place at the moment. Cool. All right. Have a lovely weekend, and I will see you next week.